All right, folks, good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us today. We are live at the house of Harley Davidson, and why am I so excited about that? 3 reasons. First of all, I'm with the marketing director, Kristin, right here to my left, and then to my far left, Michael Gentile, who has come all the way from New York City to talk about his new clothing line and his association with Harley Davidson. So I'm going to start off talking to Kristin first, because of course we have to pay props to the obvious, this beautiful dealership that exists. So Kristin, the first thing I want to talk about is, tell us your role at the dealership. Tell us a bit about how long you've been here and why you chose to work for House of Harley Davidson.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm the marketing director here, and I've been here for 11 years.
Oh my gosh.
Which for some people it's their whole career. And you know what? I chose House of Harley kind of out of the blue. I met a girl at a networking event, saw her business card and thought that would be cool. And I reached out to her, and 2 weeks later I was here. And I haven't left ever since, mainly because people are passionate about this brand. So the brand speaks to you, but the reason I've been here for 11 years is because of the place that this dealership is. It's a home. It honestly is a place where people come in and they feel like they can speak to that guy that they know about parts and accessories. They know Reb, they know Tim, they know Eric in sales, like they know people. It feels like a family here, and that is why I stayed here. It's not cold, it's not like some businesses you go to where you're just a number when you walk through the door. People know you, and that's important to me.
Well, and that family philosophy seems to be the thing when it relates to motorcycle riders across the country, really. We're looking for that sense of family and togetherness, etc. So talk to me a bit about how your dealership in particular tries to unite bikers of all different places, because we all know we are the heart of Harley here.
Yep.
So people are coming from all over the place. So what do you do to induce the average rider to come in here that's never been here before?
Absolutely. So our main focus, we're very two-wheel friendly. So you don't necessarily have to be a Harley Davidson rider to come in here, to come to one of our events. You can partake in this lifestyle despite what you ride. And we encourage that because we want you to come into the doors and feel like being part of Harley Davidson is something that you need in your life. So we throw events every month. We throw a couple events. We do charity rides that reach out to first responders, local law enforcement, firefighters, everything from anti-bullying to anti-dog fighting. We do everything across the board that really gives back to Milwaukee, and that's really important to us because we're locally owned. Our owner is from here. We're run by local riders. You're not going to get some conglomerate from out of state that is, speaking the language down. They're here, they're on site, you can shake their hands, and that's important, I think, when it comes to investing in something that is going to be such a big part of your life.
Oh, you betcha. One of the things that we talk about a lot, and I've heard about this a lot in the different dealerships, and even in the news recently, I was doing an article about this. Harley Davidson has been trying to make great efforts to make more of it female-focused. Mm-hmm. Those of us that ride on a motorcycle, and I have dear friends that ride a motorcycle, we're always concerned about being recognized as the female. We see it oftentimes when we go to events, we walk into dealerships. Talk to me a bit about how House of Harley makes a female a priority and makes it more female-friendly.
Absolutely. Yeah. You know what? That is honestly, the fact that you asked that question, that's a great initiative of ours, not only in 2019, but has been in the past. So just recently we issued, at about December time, we did a Women Riders calendar. It was a calendar that focused all on the woman rider and what they rode, not necessarily a woman posing with a bike. Like, we love the woman figure and we think it's beautiful, but we want to see those real woman riders on their motorcycles. And that was something we focused on in this calendar. And all the proceeds from the calendar benefited the Milwaukee Women's Center. So it went back to a charity. And that was a really important thing for us. So we brought everybody in, we did a photo shoot, we had fun, there was hair and makeup, and they brought their bikes in, and we showcased that. So outside of that, though, we do workshops. It's called Forever Wild. They're geared around women, and they submit their questions. They tell us what they want to know about. What can we tell you that you want to know about your bike? Do you want to know how to change your own oil? Okay, we'll show you how you change your own oil. Do you want to know how you can ride more comfortably? Okay, we can do that for you. What do you want to learn? So we focus on that too. And then of course May is Women Riders Month. So we do a huge initiative with Stilettos on Steel, the Chrome Divas, Women in the Wind. All of those women rider groups are really close to our heart. They're family to us.
Sure.
They're involved when we do our Women Riders Day during the rally. They're part of that ride. So we like to say that we get it here.
I guess.
There's a lot of us females here that are riders or rider enthusiasts or passengers, and we believe in that too. You don't necessarily, it might not be your time to take your life by the handlebars, so to speak. you might want to be a passenger and enjoy that, and that's okay too. We're all about that.
Absolutely. Now, when you notice your female audience that comes in here, what do they tend to favor bike-wise? I'm just curious. Because at every dealership, I notice that the females tend to gravitate to different bikes. And one of the things that I hear verbally that maybe you can address is women are always worried about walking into a dealership and being noticed, recognized. Hands down, some of the time, people are looking right at the guy. You know, my boyfriend is here and all of a sudden, you know, boom, it's all about him and his bike and his. And they don't realize that it's the woman paying for the bike. It's the woman riding the bike, handling the bike, representing herself and being free to ride in the wind. So what do they favor them when they walk in here? And what's the sort of feedback you get from your female audience when they come here?
You know what? Based on that, like, we get that. So we actually don't even pigeonhole them into any sort of bike at all. Like, we have women that, I mean, I'm a small female, and I have, there's a fellow woman friend who's about my size who rides a Street Glide. She just had it lowered. She loves the thing. It actually balances to her easier than a smaller motorcycle.
Sure.
It's just it's the type of riding you want to do. So it doesn't matter who you are or what gender you are. It all depends on what kind of riding you want to do. Do you want to do long distance riding? Okay, there's a certain type of bike that would be more comfortable for that. What do you want to just ride downtown? Is that something that you're more interested in? So we focus on what type of riding they want to do, not necessarily the gender or who that person speaks to. So, and being that, we have female salespeople too that are riders. That's important to us too.
Absolutely. The other thing that we like to talk about oftentimes is I think people get the perception when looking at a Harley Davidson dealership that it's exclusive to people that only ride a motorcycle.
Sure.
How do you embrace these people that are walking around that we all know? For instance, I have a dear friend here today that Kyle has a great interest in motorcycles. I don't know if he's going to ride, but who doesn't like the idea of tattoos and motorcycles and rallies and things like that? So how do you bring in that average person and say, hey, come in, we're going to embrace you, etc., etc.? How does that work for you folks?
Well, you hit the nail on the head when you said the word rallies. I mean, we throw these events because it brings in people that want to just be part of the culture, part of the lifestyle. We have vendors on site that are geared towards that. There's apparel, there's jewelry, there are tattoo artists, and then there are the big factory semis that, you know, cater to the biker. But by coming into that lifestyle, you can put on your black tank top, you can put your bandana on, and you could work at a grocery store normally during the day. But when you come to these events, you are part of the family, you are part of the lifestyle. There is a spot for you, and that is so strongly why our motor clothes department is so important to part of what the dealership is. Because honestly, it can be someone's first step into the lifestyle. They buy a t-shirt, they bought a bandana, they got a pair of boots because they looked really cute. So that brought them into the lifestyle, and then they walk down the ramp, particularly in the House of Harley Davidson, and then you see the motorcycles, and you're caught off guard by how awesome they are. And then you walk a little further, and then you're in the parts department, and then you see this amazing set of pipes you can put on this bike, and how cool you could bling out your gas tank. It just starts the whole process.
Sure.
And that's what's important to us, is that's why we do these parties, is because it brings people in, and it's just fun. Like, you get that excitement,
right?
You know?
That charge, that extra adrenaline, that little tingle that I'm getting right now. Like, why can't we ride right now? Because it's like 30-something and we can't.
Right.
I totally get that, absolutely. Now, one of the other things I want to address, because it was in the news not so long ago, and not so, you know, it's something that we should touch upon. Obviously, I know that Harley Davidson, one of the other target markets they're looking at is targeting millennials, obviously younger crowds, and let's get real here, because Harley Davidson is a quality product, nothing comes cheaply. So clearly, you've got some affordable models and things that are a little higher up there. So let's talk a bit about how you plan to attract some of that younger audience into coming into something that's very vintage and very old school in a lot of ways. We've got vintage, old school bikers that maybe can't ride anymore. How do we get the younger people to really embrace the excitement that goes along with this?
Yeah, honestly, a lot of the millennial traffic comes from some pretty off-the-cuff cool events. Like, for example, this weekend is Mama Tried. It's a flat track race on Friday, and then it's a really cool bike show that happens on a Saturday and a Sunday. Stuff like that, ice racing. We just hosted the pre-party to the ice races that unfortunately didn't happen at Wilson Park because of the weather.
Yeah.
But that kind of stuff gets them geared towards just biking in general, which is really important. Get them on the bike. Get them into a Learn to Ride class, a Riding Academy class. Harley Davidson is offering 50% off Riding Academy for a limited time right now.
Nice.
to attract that, just get into the sport.
Sure.
We just want you to see what life can be like behind those handlebars. That's all that we're looking for. You'll find your right niche once you get past that. You'll figure out what you want to do, but we want you on those two wheels.
Oh, of course, without a doubt. And clearly, I know I'm the first to recognize that there is no I in team, so obviously it takes a crew of folks.
Yep.
Tell me how many people staff this place, and of course, obviously, you're hoping 6 days a week.
Yeah.
And so, what I find fascinating about that is that you're able to pull off so much with such a smaller crew, because I know you have a smaller staff. So talk a bit about the staff, and is it basically a requirement to ride? Because I'm picturing to myself, you have to have tattoos, and you have to ride, and you have to this. Like, can I get a job here? I don't have my tag yet, but I'm like working on it. And also elaborate on that too, because most of the dealerships, of course, have in-house tattoo shops.
Yep. Okay. Absolutely. So we have about 50 people on staff here at this Milwaukee store, and then we have a Racine store also that's off of Oaks Road and Highway 20.
Yeah.
That's a much smaller store, has about 15 to 20 employees. So between that family, so a lot of us are riders, some of us are passengers, myself included. But so you don't necessarily have to be a rider to work here. You honestly just have to be passionate. It doesn't matter what you're passionate about, just feel that passion, because you're gonna get how it means to speak to these people, because that's what they are. They're walking through these doors because they're passionate about riding. So if you're passionate about anything, you can communicate with them. You can understand that excitement and what it means to be excited about something.
Sure.
So we look for good people, and I know that's a very across the board kind of statement, but you have a real person that can have a conversation and be a good person, be a good, decent human.
Yes.
That's what we're looking for, and really that's what we have here. We have a lot of people. You walk through the door and you're gonna get a smile, you're gonna get a handshake, they're gonna say hi to you, and you're gonna feel like you know somebody. It's not like walking into some cold area where you're just a person that needs a service done, or buys a t-shirt. They're gonna ask you what you do. What do you do for a living? What do you like to do? Like, what is fun for you? They get to know. We like to get to know our customers because they come to our events. We hang out with them. It's very different to other, like an automotive industry.
Oh, yes.
You don't hang out with your car dealer. You just don't. I mean, some of you out there might, but normally you don't.
Yes.
So, but here you come and hang out with us. We see you on the weekends. We are in the summer open 7 days a week on Sundays.
Yes.
So, we're here. You can come in. You don't even need to be buying anything. Come hang out with us. It's important.
That's the mentality that I'm referring to, that whole little my house, your house sort of scenario.
Yep.
This is my house, all are welcome at any given point in time, of course, obviously.
Yep.
Now, one of the things I want to touch upon is, obviously, we're in a new year. It's only February. I had to think about that a minute. What is Harley here in particular, your dealership? Anything new? Any new products? Anything out there motorcycle-wise? Any kind of shirts, etc.? Anything that we want to talk about that's exciting and new that people can get?
Absolutely. There's always something new. Honestly, there's always something new. Spring line just hit the floor about mid-February, so all the spring merch is out. We just came out of what we call our winter dealer meeting. So the cool things that are going on right now, pre-orders for the Livewire, the new electric motorcycle. Pre-orders are running now. We'll hit the floor in about August.
Okay.
That's when our new models are technically released for the Harley-Davidson calendar year, is around the August, end of August era. The lithium battery. This battery is unbelievable. You can literally toss it. It's that light. It's so light and it's so great and it lasts forever. And it comes now with a dual tender, so you can connect into your lithium, you can connect into your old battery. It sets up just nicely. So that's very nice. There's a new accessories collection that came out. There's a lot of cool stuff, but you have to do that. You have to be relevant. You have to be reinventing yourself, or you're going to become stale. And I think Harley-Davidson gets that. They come out with things because they understand that that's what the public expects. If they're gonna get the same old Eagle and the same old Fringe and the same old stuff every year, nobody's gonna buy it year after year.
Absolutely.
It's just not gonna happen.
Well, of course. And when we talk about innovation and recreation and making things new and exciting, we have to look at the owner, of course, because clearly, of course, we all need a commander-in-chief that makes decisions. Tell me a bit about what sort of is his handprint on this dealership, and what is important to him? What are his main goals and objectives for his customers, for his upcoming clients, and for this upcoming year?
Sure. So I will speak as much as I can channel Mr. Binkert through this. The one thing I can say about him, he's very involved. We have weekly manager meetings that he is absolutely, there's always something new to talk about. Our winter time, we focus in on training and making sure that we are up to date on and being the best that we can be over what we would consider a slow season for Milwaukee.
Sure.
Being it freezing. But so we reinvest in ourselves, which I think is something that really supports, that he's very supportive of, is reinvesting into the employee and giving into the company in that regard, training wise.
Okay.
So that's important to him. It's also really important to push that handshake, like being in the community, making the handshake, because that is, like I was saying, it's you know someone then. You go out and so he encourages us to participate in activities outside of the store. You know, go have fun, but you know, wear your gear, shake a hand, know a person, and then they're gonna feel like they have someone here that they can go to. And that is really refreshing to hear when it comes from a master leader, so to speak, you know. It's nice to hear that, and he's very active. He's always here.
Nice.
It's important for him to be here. He almost never takes a vacation, even though we try to make him go relax for a while. He never, you know, it's important to him for being here, because then they can say, hey, I know Jeff, I met him. You know, I bought a bike and the owner shook my hand. That in itself, you never get, I mean, what Ford are you going to buy that the Ford owner is going to come and shake your hand? You know, it's a cool thing. And being in the home of Harley Davidson, we're very blessed because we have the motor company in our backyard, so to speak. So our relationships with them are very important, because, you know, in my personal position as a marketer, my customers and, you know, people that enjoy this space are my best marketers. They go out and they tell a friend that they had a great experience. That's very important to me, and I think that translates. I get that a lot from Jeff, that kind of inspiration. So.
Very cool. And you'll hear this at the very end of this interview exactly what I think, of course, because we have our own impressions of how the dealership has taught us, obviously. So the last thing I wanted to kind of touch upon before we talk about how the gentleman to your left ended up getting here, of course, is when do we want to look at, for those that might be listening to this interview today, when is your next upcoming event in-house, outside of here? When do we start our outside events, clearly? And of course, if people want to come in and speak to you about arranging an event, how do they do something like that?
Absolutely. So our next upcoming event, we have a Daytona Beach party, which is always a good time. It's March 9th. There is, our mixture of our parties always includes some live music, some icy cold beverages, some great food. That is kind of the mixture, and of course the beautiful shiny motorcycles. So our next one, Daytona Beach Party, March 9th, noon to 4. We have a reggae band playing. And some amazing food coming in. So that's our next indoor event. Though what's new for 2019, which I'm really excited to talk about, is we are actually bringing bike nights home on Tuesday nights. So every other Tuesday, starting May, June, and July, we will have bike nights on Tuesday nights here at the store. So music, party atmosphere, ride on in. The first one is May 18th, and yeah, we're really excited about it. It's going to be a great change. I mean, we love the museum bike nights on Thursdays, but Tuesday has kind of been a dead night for the marketplace. You know, some stuff has stopped moving, so we brought Two Wheel Tuesdays back home, and we're excited to launch that.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And our hope, and we're crossing fingers, is that we might be able to talk about having a motorcycle movie night here at the Harley Davidson, because, well, we'll get into that at another time. Okay, so of course, obviously, Kristin, to those of you that are watching right now, was instrumental in orchestrating. I was very fortunate to be able to reach out to her. I am now partner of a clothing line on top of being this Red Roving reporter right here. And said gentleman to my very left, of course, has started a clothing line by the name of MG Frocks. He is here today because he wanted to not only help me film my documentary Saddlebag Stories, but more importantly, to bring some of his actual biker clothing here to Wisconsin. What's interesting about that is not only did Kristin embrace the idea of bringing us in here, but moreover, Michael is a New York City-based actor who actually decided to choose Milwaukee out of all the 50 Wisconsin, out of all the 50 states he could choose. So first of all, Michael, I want to talk about what brought you to Wisconsin. Why Wisconsin and not somewhere else to bring your clothing?
Why Wisconsin? Well, I come from a very partisan city and a very partisan state where it's very one note. And I thought, what better place to go to than the state like little old Milwaukee, where it's in a vital swing state, whether anybody likes it or not. The most powerful people, politicians in the country, have to come here and beg the average voter for their support. And you can't get any more idealistic and American than that.
Nice, very nice. Now, I understand that you have been getting in with some of the biker culture. You've met some of the people that are actual motorcycle riders. What has your experience been, and what is some of the feedback that they're giving you in terms of these frocks that you're speaking about selling?
Well, that's what I like about bikers is they like the provocation of the message. It's lighthearted, it's humorous, but it's meant to be a little in your face to get people to thinking. And I just like the reaction. As soon as they get a little sense that you're pushing them, they push back, and they like that exchange of ideas. You know, you think I'm right, I think you're wrong. Convince me, and that's.
So, talk to me a little bit about why it was important for you to come to a Harley-Davidson dealer versus going outright to anywhere else in terms of interviewing people, meeting people, and bringing your clothing line here. I mean, how does Harley fit into that?
Well, Harley-Davidson is the ultimate seal of approval for Wisconsin, for bikers, for just a little of that provocative thought. And I just really was looking to get in, embrace that community and have something to share with them, and hopefully have them embrace.
Okay, I've got you.
Harley's been absolutely wonderful about it.
I was just going to ask that, in fact, because we are in House of Harley right now. Talk to me a bit about, while you've spent a little bit of time here for a few hours, what have you observed about their dealership, being an outsider, so to speak? Tell us a little bit about what you're seeing and what would make you want to come back here, period.
Well, right out of the gate, I can't wait to crack my little piggyback open and just spend it right here because, they just really, there's so many beautiful works of art. These machines, I thought my t-shirt was a work of art, but these machines are absolutely gorgeous, and I don't know how I've lived so long without one. And you really get that what you've been talking about, that personal touch, that they'll take care of you here, and it's not just a product, but it's a lifestyle choice, and you are part of something important.
So would you go so far to say as maybe that our attitude and just our atmosphere varies a bit from the East Coast?
A tinge. Well, bikers are the same everywhere.
Yeah.
Bikers, and I grew up with a lot of biker friends of the family and that, and they were just always a great bunch, fun bunch, really supportive. The old give you a right arm kind of a thing.
Yep.
So I've always had a soft spot for that, and looking forward to just meeting more and more of the community.
Oh, of
great
course.
bunch of people.
Do you happen to ride a motorcycle by chance? Have you been on a Harley? Do you have your license? Are you looking to do that?
It's been a long time. I gotta get back into it.
Very nice.
At least now I know where to shop.
Oh,
Absolutely.
Riding Academy 50% off right now.
There you go. That's a tipper.
Gotta go back to school, huh?
Of course, we want to talk about certainly how your clothing and the line itself relates to motorcycle riders. So please elaborate a bit on the first shirt and, of course, some of the extension of your line and how it relates to motorcycle riders and why they want to get your merchandise.
Well, the common through line is the word freedom. Bikers just seem to dig freedom, and that's what the idea of my shirt was about. Like I said, where I'm from, everything is kind of regimented, thought-wise, and just the freedom of the road, the freedom of the mind. It's similar in a lot of ways. I just like the attitude behind it, and I think it's really, really important that people in general, the country gets back to that, lightens up a little bit, and you think I'm wrong, convince me. Don't just cast aspersions about it. I like the independence. You don't get any more independent than a biker.
It's true.
And as I understand it, of course, some of these different, you were speaking about doing bandanas and shirts and things like that. So if a biker were to walk in here today and wanted to buy your shirt, break down the shirt a little bit. Tell us a little bit about what we would find on there and what was the inspiration behind the shirt itself.
Well, it's our launch line is called Wall Wit, and yeah, we do mean that wall. So it's not a light topic. People get their ire up about it, but we wanted to make it a little more reflective and light. There's a lot of points of view on both sides. We have Lady Liberty really letting her hair down and kind of saying to the country, "Yeah, I'm here. I'll be here. You can come back to me when you're ready." When the insanity stops and people are willing to listen, she'll be waiting for us. So it's colorful, it's sexy, it's suggestive, it's provocative, thought-wise mainly. It reflects on the American soldier, on the average American. It's a lot for a t-shirt. We've been chatting about this a lot. It's a lot going on in a simple t-shirt, but I meant it to be like a painting. You really want to stop and look at it, and what does it mean to you? It might mean one thing here and one thing over there. They might be completely at odds, but you're getting people to think about it.
Absolutely. And of course, we want to mention that you're not restricted to just shirts alone, correct?
No.
Okay, what is the line looking like?
Well, the preferred product lately seems to be our intimate apparel line.
Did you create that?
No, I had a little help in that capacity.
Really?
My business partner and director of marketing, Cindy Mich, conceived of this. What better way to send a message than through a little romance? And that as well is very lighthearted and just ultimately still mainly getting people to get into the mood and enjoy themselves and laugh a little together.
I gotcha. Okay. What else do you have on the pike as far as the line itself? What else are you going to be releasing?
Bandanas, flasks, and hats, probably hats as well. We are going to, I'm already conceiving of the next line, not wall wit, but beyond that. The next line within. So there's always more down the pike. You know, there's plenty of issues out there. There's plenty of ways people are getting wound up every day by the TV set, by the powers that be, and we want to get people to laugh, to think and to laugh a little bit.
Are you engaging the idea of maybe putting a motorcycle rider on one of your shirts? Is that something you'd consider?
Oh, absolutely.
Nice.
Absolutely. And it ain't going to be me at this rate, so we gotta get somebody who knows what they're doing.
And if I understand you right, this weekend you are officially open for sale. So you actually launched this weekend. You came to Milwaukee to meet and mingle with bikers and everybody. I just want to be clear on this. Your target demographic in part is motorcycle riders. Are you looking for specifically them, or is the whole line catered to different demographics as well?
Well, we've got our bikers, you know, for that sort of gruff independence. We've got millennials for their sort of libertarian spin, you know, just and talking just last night out in Milwaukee downtown, talking to a lot of young people. There's a hunger for that, and I love that you can really get into the topic that we're provoking, and then it takes an hour to find out where they actually stand on something like the wall.
Sure.
They're just so passionate about the freedom element of it. People are tired of being pigeonholed and told what to think, and there really is a hunger for people to just express thought, throw it around, and debate.
Oh.
And that's what we're supposed to be about.
Certainly.
Not good guy, bad guy. No.
So does that mean you'll be donning your own product in anything soon? Will we actually see
certainly.
the Wallwood product in a product somewhere? A film, a commercial, etc.? Is something like that happening?
Well, I happen to be working on a local film.
Oh, really?
Yes, indeed. Came out here to work on 100 Looks of Love,
Okay.
and which is a Cindy Mich production, and
Yes.
that's been a wonderful experience. A lot of really nice local actors. We're also going to be doing a leg in New York City, working with some nice New York talent as well.
Great.
And yeah, it's been a wonderful experience, an expression of humanity, of emotion, of raw feeling that is very important to portray in film. And I think there's going to be a nice little place for a little shameless product placement within that.
Ah, look at that, because just so you folks know, he has been asked to be on a game show, as a matter of fact, on the Game Show Network, so I'm guessing that the Wallwood shirt will be on there. I also understand, if I got it correctly, that you were soon to be releasing a commercial that's advertising the product.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Do we know when that's going to be?
Well, we're going to finish the production here in Milwaukee
Okay.
this weekend, and then a little fancy editing, and we'll be all set to go. It'll be launched on the website mgfrocks.com, and then we will start sharing it with the rest of the country.
Very nice. Okay, and if I understand you correctly, of course, for those, tell people that are listening in, how do they get your products now? Because if they can't show up in Milwaukee this weekend per se, tell me where you're going next. Where do people find you from here?
Okay, well, mgfrocks.com, we're going to have all the merchandise available there. We're also going to Daytona, we're going to Nevada, we're going to Colorado, we're going to Biker Week. We're going to hit all the major events here, there, and everywhere.
If I understand it right, I believe it's a 4-month tour, as a matter of fact.
Yes.
I believe it's called the Film and Frocks Tour, if I'm not mistaken. So we're going to get a bit of independent film in here. We're going to do some celebrity events. There's going to be selling and modeling of the product, if you will, contests, giveaways, you name it, of course.
Yes.
And then at some given point in time, you'll expand on the line, clearly.
Yes, and the outreach to the biker community, Saddlebag Stories, the documentary, is going to be a big part of that. We really want to capture the stories of just regular riders, regular people,
Yes.
and their experiences with the romance with the bike,
Absolutely.
and what it means to their everyday lives.
Oh, certainly. And of course, for the documentary in and of itself, what's nice about the whole tour is that MG Frocks has been kind enough to sponsor the entire thing, which is lovely, which allows us to go out and do the job that we do. Of course, clearly goes without saying. So the big question is what does MG Frocks want to offer Kristin and the House of Harley for their generosity? Because of course, without them, this would not be possible. Because I have a few ideas, but you are the owner of the company. So what would MG Frocks like to gift the House of Harley?
Well, we want to do lots of product placement, lots of mention, lots of sponsors mention within our tour.
Of course.
Or a constant mention on the tour of the product line, and an exchange of merchandise at some point would be lovely.
Absolutely.
We would love an ongoing business relationship with House of Harley.
I think that would be absolutely lovely. I also think that Kristin should be gifted some shirts. That kind of goes without
That's a
saying.
given. That is a given.
And I guess the real question is, one of the things I was thinking is, I wonder if the House of Harley Davidson would like to actually be part of the film. Would they engage that idea? Because I'm kind of thinking that we could have a motorcycle scene within one of our ventures, if not both of them, to tell you the truth, which would be another thing that we could engage. I think it's always important to recognize that without the dealers and without people like this, like you, we as bikers and we as people that are on a motorcycle are unable to do what we love. You facilitate and foster the ability for bikers to be able to do and live and breathe what they love to do. One of the things that I can note about being in the House of Harley the minute you walk in is the fact that people recognize you. You walk in the door and you are not just a face. Literally, you have a handshake and a hug waiting for you from the moment that you walk in. You have a quality product in every room. You have that owner, hands-on like you were talking about. Affordability, folks. I just looked at a vintage bike that's going to cost me 11 grand. And that is it. And let me just tell you, I've been to dealers near and far. One of the things that I think is most important besides that is the affordability factor. Most people, I think, are afraid of walking into a Harley Davidson dealership for fear that they're never going to be able to afford it. You make it affordable, you make it accessible. What else I like about this is that you have local artistry here in Milwaukee. You walk in and a Milwaukee artist is on the walls. Look at this mural, folks, as far as the 115th. Not only are they recognizing this, they've got skulls on the wall over there. They have events going on all of the time. They're friendly to people like me, okay? And let me just tell you, for a woman who is in Wisconsin, who is not only self-employed but rides herself, it is so frustrating to not be acknowledged. I have a face here, and there's a friendly face that greets me here that's open to creative, avant-garde, out-of-the-box sort of ideas, which I can't even tell you. It's sizable, and in fact, hopefully when we get done with this interview, Kristin will be lovely enough to take us on a tour, and we will actually film the entire place. So you get a chance to be able to see this is what House of Harley looks like. So folks, if you take anything away from this interview, 3 things you should remember. Number 1, handshake and a hug. You walk in here, you get a handshake and a hug, and you are home. That's number 1. Number 2, they are so biker friendly, and I don't say that just because there are motorcycles here, but they want you to embrace them as much as they embrace you. That whole feeling and mentality is not something that I see all the time in every place I go to. And number 3, most importantly, you can buy a bike, you can party here, you can buy here, you can enjoy meeting other riders here like I have today, and actually talk to the owner and talk to the #1 chief marketer here. She's easily accessible, she's lovely, she's beautiful. I'd put her in a film, thank you so very much. And not only that, you can get a tattoo while you're here. I'm like, how badass is that? I could actually get tatted, walk away with a bike, and enjoy myself, and just know that I'm accessible and accepted as I am, even in a dress, because this is in the Harley Guard. So what I want to say to you, Kristin, is it is such an honor and a privilege to be here, not just because it's a Harley anything. It's the fact that I've met a very grounded owner, a very grounded marketing person. I love the feel and the ambiance that's here. It's just remarkable to me that we have the Harley name here, and I feel so comfortable. And I brought somebody 700 miles away who was willing to shake hands, have a hug, and say, I want to partner with these people. That is fundamentally huge. Building a bridge between 2 different cities and bringing a huge line together and coming here and using this as a backdrop. I am so grateful and so humbled that you're allowing us to be here.
Well, thank you for being here,
Of course. I hope that you've enjoyed this little wonderful interview, guys. If by some chance you want to check them out, www.houseofharley.com, obviously mgfrocks.com. Oh, and before I forget, we don't want to forget to mention the obvious. Little did you know this, I don't think Kristin knew this, but I know this. Michael, have you not kind of played a motorcycle rider? I want you to talk about your experience with the vest and the Indian, and that's...
Oh.
It's as close to a motorcycle rider, but yes, tell us a bit about motorcycle relative acting, because he is an actor.
Sort of a former motorcycle rider. He's a paraplegic Native American drug dealer. Not a particularly flattering character, but not one of Cindy's favorites of mine, but a very bad customer in a horror movie, so it gets a little stabby, it gets a little choppy.
In horror movies.
Oh. And the name of the film is called Monster Mash, and if you want to check out all of his acting work, www.michaelgentile.net, and it's Gentile. So definitely we don't want to forget about the acting side of things, obviously. If I get it lucky, Kristin will say yes and she'll act in my movie as well, but that's a whole nother story for a whole nother day. But definitely www.houseofharley.com. And one more time, Kristin, when's the next time they should come in for an event, or even, well, anytime you folks can come in? Tell us your hours. Remind us again of the next event.
Yep. Next event, March 9th, Daytona Beach Party, but we are open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. in the winter, Saturdays 9 to 4. Summertime, we're open just a little bit later, 9 to 7, Monday through Friday, and then Saturdays and Sundays.
Oh, and yes, we don't want to forget about this. You have e-commerce, right? So let's talk a bit about folks, let's say they're listening in New York City right now. You see us here. How do they get some of your garb?
Absolutely. So houseofharley.com, that's the web address you want to go to. We sell all of our clothing, a bunch of parts and accessories online. You can visit the store, shop, we'll be able to ship to you. It's free shipping over $129, great deals. So I encourage everyone to check it out. There is a Daytona Bike Week special going on right now. So yeah, houseofharley.com, shop the house. We're available in-store or online for our New York friends or others that might be tuning in.
Awesome. And of course, the very last thing, are we going to do anything for the rally this year?
Of course.
I know it's down the road, but...
You know what? Every Labor Day weekend, though, we are throwing a party every Labor Day weekend. So it's Milwaukee Rally, Labor Day weekend, Thursday through Monday of Labor Day. Come on down. We factory semis here with great parts and accessories, live music, food, rides. We do a charity ride every single day of that rally. Benefits a different organization, so police, fire, women riders. It's just a really good time.
And hopefully Johnny Lang, strip club shoppers, please, please, please come down, because we would love to have you at the House of Harley. So thank you so much, folks, for listening to us. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We're signing off for now.